I'm driving the 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge, which makes this a plug-in hybrid vehicle. But I really don't want to talk about that. Instead, since I have a review of this vehicle on another channel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a tech check. And I'm specifically going to focus on the Google operating system. I feel like we've been talking about this system a lot lately. So yeah, let the conversation continue. Let's take a closer look at this week's Car du Jour. First up, I just really want to give you a good idea of what I see when I am looking at these screens here. So you have the map here, and this is a Google map, and you have a map here, which is also a Google map. You have a digital screen, and I would say this is probably about 10 inches. It's certainly a lot smaller than some of the 12.3 inches, 15 inches, 17-inch screens that we've seen recently, but I think it's a right-sized screen, and I think it's well integrated into the dash, and it doesn't bother me that it's a little bit smaller than what we've seen so far. So I will also point out, you can see here, because this is a plug-in hybrid, I have 33 miles of all-electric range at the moment. It goes up to about 38 miles when it's at 100% charge, and then 340 miles of gas range. And, I think 38 to 40 is kind of a sweet spot, because that will get you really probably to and from a commute in most instances if you are going to an office. So the other thing I want to just kind of look at over here is your screen. So it does have Apple CarPlay. That is one of the things you do not see on General Motors electric vehicles. So I find it interesting that Volvo has integrated not only Google Maps and the Google operating system, but also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, I will point out, it is a wired-in system, so it's not wireless at this moment, and you do need a cord, and furthermore, it needs to be of the USB-C variety. So that is just some of the stuff that you have going on in this screen and in this screen. All right, let's talk a little bit about what is going on here before we move over here, because this unfortunately isn't super customizable. You have a complete digital display, but you've got your speedometer over here and your power charge, which essentially takes the place of your tachometer over here. And then you have the ability to put a map there or, well, nothing. There really doesn't seem to be a lot of customization that's going on, but I will say that I really did like having the map there, and your directions will show up back here. And then you can put your audio over here, and you can have, your screens show up that you can scroll through, or you can just have your channel display full screen. And then if you have directions over here and your radio over here, or as I like to do, I play podcasts over here, you can use this screen for your infotainment while you are using this screen for your directions. And I think this works really well together. So even though this isn't terribly customizable, essentially this is the way that I would set it up. Okay, now I want to dig into this Google operating system a little bit. And if you have watched my video on the Google system with the Chevrolet EVs, some of this is going to look pretty familiar to you, because the Google operating system, I'll be honest with you, is, well, pretty similar across the board. So if you decide to live in the Google environment without connecting your Apple CarPlay, this will be your main menu, and you have things like messages, but you have to sync your phone and it will bring your messages up. So this is actually really interesting. Unlike the Chevrolet system, you can see here I had two messages prior to me getting into the vehicle that are showing up here. And I went into the system, I allowed Google to, sync to my messages, and it is actually bringing them up. This was sent an hour ago. I was not in this car an hour ago. So I like the fact that you can access past messages that you cannot do in the Chevrolet system. If you want to go into the Play Store, this is where you can see what else is going on, what else you can get. I had a lot of questions about, well, can you download Apple Messages? Can you download Apple Music? Can you download YouTube Music? Can you download? When you have a Google operating system, there are some things you can download and there are some things that you cannot download, but you have to go into the Google Play Store and then you can explore the apps and it will show you what you have to access. So in terms of streaming, you have Amazon Music, you have Radio Paradise, you have YouTube Music, and you have SoundCloud. It looks like this will also allow you, just a couple of different things, TuneIn Radio. So this doesn't have some of the apps that you saw on the Chevrolet side, but it has some new apps. So it kind of depends on what the automaker wants you to be able to download. So if there's a Apple messaging app, could you conceivably download that into your Google Play Store? Yeah, you could. But it's just whether or not the manufacturer is going to allow you to do that, because it is deciding what you can download. So pass your time while you're parked. So some of the things you can do when you're in park, you've got HBO Max. You can stream Peacock, Angry Birds for Automotive. You have some games you can play. A couple of different streaming services. So, you could play solitaire. But you have a couple of things you can do while you're parked. It will not let you do it while you are driving. But again, you are very limited in what you can download, but there is more than just what is on the screen here. It will let you download some other things. So you're just going to have to play around with it and see what you can download. Now, because this is a Google operating system, it will allow you to do things like, hey, Google, navigate to Orange Theory Logan Square.
Okay, Orange Theory Fitness. Here we go.
And then you can see it shows up in the map here, and I don't know if you can see, but it also shows up in the map here. And I definitely like that ability and that capability to do that. And then if I wanted to, again, go into the radio, you have your radio here and your directions there. You can also do things like, hey, Google, turn the temperature to 72 degrees.
Sure, changing the temperature to 72 degrees.
Hey, Google, turn off my heated seat.
Got it. Turning off the seat heater for the driver.
Yeah, I did have my heated seat on. Hey, Google, tune to TikTok radio.
Got it. Asking SiriusXM to play TikTok radio.
Well, that didn't work. So you have some voice commands that work, you have some voice commands that don't work, but the idea with this system is to be able to keep your eyes forward and keep your hands off the screen, and I like all of those things. Did not change my channel, but it changed my HVAC controls, it turned off my heated seat, although, hey Google, turn my heated seat on.
Got it. Turning on the seat heater for the driver.
Hey Google, turn my heat to 78 degrees.
Okay, changing the heat for the driver to 78 degrees.
I was getting a little cold. It's a little bit blowy. If you don't want to use the HEYGOOGLE phrase to activate the system, you can also press the button on the steering wheel right here. Cancel navigation. Don't know what happened with that accent there, but yeah. Okay.
Stopping navigation.
So it allowed me to cancel my navigation, and it actually understood me when I couldn't get my words out right. So what else can you do with this system? All right, I will point out that I did log into my Google account, so Jill, and then, with that in mind, it will also bring up my PlugShare, my ChargePoint, and my Waze. And again, if you watch my video from the Chevrolet EV Google operating system, all of this is the same. So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that. Now, the big difference you're going to have with this operating system versus that operating system is going to be the fact that, yeah, you have Apple CarPlay. So I'm going to wire in, which means my sound is going to be a little bit different going into the next segment so that we can check out what that looks like in relationship to all of this. Okay, I am now wired into the system, and I will warn you that because I am filming with my phone while I am trying to use Apple CarPlay, there is a very large likelihood that the system will look a little bit slower than what it actually is, so please don't comment on the lag. It's really not laggy. It's just laggy because I'm trying to do two things. So, all right, first up, this is what it looks like on your screen, and you can swipe and do all of the things on your Apple CarPlay that you are used to doing. It has Google Maps, it has my charge point, it has a lot of the same apps that you're going to see in this native inherent system, but you're using it through Apple CarPlay. Now, if I went into Apple Maps and, okay, I went ahead and let's go to Orange Theory, here's the interesting thing that happens, and I think it's pretty cool. The map here switches out to your Apple map. So this system fully supports the Google operating system as well as the Apple system, and it will let you show your map for Apple behind the wheel. Now, that's actually the first time I have seen something like that. Usually when you set up your Apple Maps on your screen here, it'll just show directionals. It will never show your actual map. Now, I'm sure there are other vehicles out there that have that capability. I just haven't seen it yet. So frankly, I think that is really flipping cool. So in addition to giving you really cool functionality with the Google operating system, you have really cool functionality with the Apple CarPlay system. And I'm going to make the assumption, I'm not an Android user, I don't have an Android phone, but I'm going to make the assumption that if you plugged in your Android phone and used your Google Maps or whatever it is you're going to do for that, that it would also show up behind the wheel. Now, what I don't think is going to happen is if you bring up your Waze, I don't think that's going to show up behind the wheel here because that's just kind of an incompatible system. But just the fact that you can bring up your Apple Maps here, yeah, that gets a huge thumbs up in my book. The other thing that you have access to is going to be your voicemail messages, your text messages, and all of the other things that are a little bit clunkier to use when you go into this system. So as we saw before, you can go into your menu here and you can go into your messages. Now, obviously, because I'm filming, you can't see my text messages anymore because I'm not connected via Bluetooth, but you can go into all of those things. But obviously, I'm just going to prefer Apple CarPlay 100% of the time because it's just easier to use and it's more intuitive and it mirrors my phone. Why wouldn't I want that? All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room as it pertains to the Google operating system. There will be a subscription fee. Full stop. I've reached out to Volvo and I've asked them what the subscription fee will be, and at the time of creating this video, I haven't heard back. However, when I have previously asked them about the subscription fee, they said they didn't know yet. So I don't know if they don't know yet or if they figured it out, but you have to keep in mind the Google operating system in Volvo vehicles is still relatively new, and you do get 4 years for free. So even if you have one of the early Google operating systems, say at max, it's going to be about 2 years old, you're 2 years into the system, you still have 2 years on your free trial. So Volvo hasn't been particularly quick about figuring out what that subscription fee is going to look like. Now, I know there is an app fee, which is about $200 per year, but this is not that, or that is not this. I guess that's how I want to say that. So I've reached out to Volvo. I haven't heard back from them at the time of filming this video. If I do hear back from them, I will put the price down below. If you see nothing down here, that means I still haven't heard back or they still don't know the answer to that. There will be a subscription fee. You get 4 years for free. Okay, outside of the googliness and the Apple CarPlay-ness of this Volvo infotainment system, there are a couple more things that I do want to talk about with regards to technology. And let's first talk about the climate system. So you do have the system located in the screen, and you have to tap this down below to get, whether you want the fan to go up, whether you want the temperature to increase. You've got dual automatic climate controls, heated seats, heated steering wheels. You've got all of the good things going on there. And I don't know, I really, if you were going to put it into a screen, this doesn't suck. It is not bad in terms of the operating system, because you do have the ability to have like big icons. So even if you have bigger fingers than I do, you're going to be able to hit these things just fine. And you have like all of these buttons there that you can control. You can decide which zone the climate is going to be coming through, and maybe right now I just want it to my feet. But at any rate, you have some controls here in terms of how you operate the climate control. And plus, as we saw when we were talking about the Google system, you can just use voice commands. So that makes all of this really easy, and you don't even have to touch your screen. Now, the other thing that is going to show up here are going to be your seat controls. So you do have like some controls right here, and you have like this little, hold on a second. You have a round button right here that does multiple things. So when you hit that round button, this will pop up, and you can kind of scroll through some options that you want. So you can do your lumbar support through there. You can do the thigh bolster support. So I'm using the button, and it's just essentially showing you what you are doing on the screen. Because when you twist the dial, you can then move to your lumbar support, and it shows again as you hit the buttons. So like it shows you the little quadrants of the buttons and what is being adjusted. Now, the final thing I want to talk about in here is going to be the camera. So you have a really nice around view camera, and when you hit this button, it will show you what's going on at the different views, and you can drill in to the different angles, and then go back to the 360 camera, and I really appreciate that. Now, if you have your camera off and you take the vehicle into reverse, obviously your backup camera is just going to pop up on automatically. But if you would rather to have the 360 camera, you can just click on the screen, it'll show you the 360 icon, and then it will pop up the 360 camera as it is. Now, there's a speed bump right there, so people are slowing down as they go past me. You have a really good view of what is going on around you, and I really like that. And then, so you're currently in reverse. If you pop it into drive, you will see that the camera stays on. I appreciate that as well, because if you're parallel parking, if you're parking into a tight spot and you're switching between reverse and drive, yeah, I don't want to have to hit this button every time when I'm switching gears. So yeah, I like that. And even though this is a little bit small, I think I like the pulled out view of what is around the vehicle. All right, as I am getting ready to close out this video, I do want to say that there is one tech feature that this vehicle doesn't have, and it doesn't bother me at all. And that is a wireless charger. And I will say Volvo hasn't been one of the automakers that has implemented a wireless charger really well, so I'm glad they don't offer it. I'm really glad they don't offer it. Plus, because the system here for Apple CarPlay is a wired-in system, wireless charging makes no sense. So the fact that you don't have it makes complete sense to me. All right, that is it. That is what I have for you today in the 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge. Thanks for sticking with me through this tech review, and I will see you next time with a new car du jour.